host, Kristal Roberts. As many of you know, throughout this year, we've been exploring what it means to light the spark, ignite genuine hope, and lead the change. Our focus currently is on ignite genuine hope, because hope isn't just something we feel, it's something we practice. It's how we navigate uncertainty, embrace possibility, and move forward even when we don't have all the answers. Today's episode is a little different and very special to me. Joining me is my daughter, Madison Mulligan. A few weeks ago, we were having one of those conversations that started casually and quickly became something much deeper. We found ourselves talking about the transition from student to working professional, one of the biggest and often least talked about transitions in a person's life. 5 years ago, Madison graduated with her master's degree in architecture and stepped into the next chapter of adulthood. As she reflected on what she has learned during those 5 years, I was struck by the wisdom, honesty, and perspective she shared. It wasn't just relevant for recent graduates, it was relevant for anyone navigating change, uncertainty, identity shifts, and the challenge of figuring out who they are becoming. Graduation is often celebrated as an ending, but in many ways, it's really a beginning. It's the moment when the structure of school gives way to the ambiguity of adult life. The questions change, the expectations change, and often so do we. So today, we're inviting you into a mother-daughter conversation about what happens after the diploma is framed, the celebrations are over, and real life begins. Whether you're a recent graduate, a parent of a graduate, or someone navigating a transition of your own, we hope this conversation offers encouragement, perspective, and perhaps a little genuine hope for whatever comes next. Before we dive in, I wanted to share just a short bio of Madison so that you can get to know her a little bit better. Madison is a licensed architect based in the Pacific Northwest. She graduated from Washington State University with a Master's of Architecture 5 years ago and has worked on a wide range of projects, including custom residential homes, multifamily housing, tenant improvements, and commercial developments. Outside of work, she can usually be found exploring the outdoors, training for her next race, experimenting in the kitchen, or planning her next adventure with her husband. So welcome to the podcast, Maddie. Thank you for agreeing to be on the show, and I'm really excited to have this conversation.
Of course, I am happy to be here and talk with you today.
So you shared such amazing stuff when we were having this conversation, and this is such a great time to revisit that conversation, I felt, because there's so many kids right now that are out there starting where you were 5 years ago, just graduating. And it can be such a daunting time in life, a time of celebration, but a time also of just really new beginnings, not knowing where to go. And so when my first question is, when you look back at yourself 5 years ago, as you were finishing your master's degree, what did you think adulthood and professional life would be like? And what surprised you the most?
I think something that I thought adulthood would be like is coming to a point where I felt like I knew what I was doing and felt super confident in where I was at in my career. And I thought about that a lot in terms of getting licensed. And I recently got licensed as an architect.
Yay.
And
Woo!
yeah,
It's a huge accomplishment for anybody who doesn't know what that path is. Can you tell them just a tiny bit about that?
it was a journey. It consists of about 3,000 hours of working underneath an architect and 6 exams that I've taken over the course of the past 5 years. And finally came to the end and got my license. And it was a long journey, but I'm happy to be on the other side of it.
Yeah, a lot of
Yeah,
work that went into that. Yeah.
yeah, a lot of work. But back to what I thought kind of life would be like as an adult in the workforce. I thought that I would know what I was doing and get to a point where I felt like I was like, I've got this. And I semi recently started a new job, and I remember my first week sitting down and talking with the my other coworkers, and they were saying that even the ones that had worked 30 years, they were just like, I still feel like I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm learning so much every day. And I think that was like an aha
Mm,
moment of just like you're always going to be learning, and there's not like a point where you know everything and you feel so confident in what you're doing. And I think that that can be a good thing and also like a very daunting and scary thing. Yeah.
yeah. What feels daunting about that?
um I think there's something in like feeling secure and very certain
Mm,
in knowing things and knowing what's going to happen. And I've continuously been learning how to just kind of let that go and be okay with not knowing everything and how to ask the right questions.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking about the head of Microsoft, how he says he's trying to shift people's mindsets around being the expert and have people think about instead of a know-it-all, a learn-it-all.
Oh,
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah. Yeah. Learn it all. And the way that things are changing so quickly, like, I don't know how you would know everything because we're constantly having to learn new things. Yeah.
Especially in the architecture world, there's just new building technologies that come out all the time, and how we build changes. And there's just so much, even codes get updated every so many years, and you're just consistently learning new things, which is exciting because I love learning. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. It's a shift in mindset, right? That we, that we always have to be learning, that we don't have to have the answer. We have ways to find
Mhm.
the answer. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So many students spend most of their lives moving from one educational milestone to the next. What was the biggest adjustment in shifting from being a student to being a working professional?
The biggest adjustment that I felt, and I still remember really vividly the first year out of college, was adjusting to not having check marks anymore. You don't have to pass a grade or pass an exam, and all these like external ways that we see success
Mm,
is kind of gone. And so having to adjust and define what success looks like to me in my own life, and that it doesn't have to be this checklist that check, 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 pass this grade, moved on. It's what do I want out of life? What do I want out of my career? And how do I define my own success?
ugh,
And that's a continual like
yeah.
process for me. I think getting licensed felt like another one of those sort of checklist items that I had to check off my list.
Hmm.
And so even now I feel like I'm still, now that that's gone, I've had to spend a lot of time thinking about like what's what's next? Do I even want a checklist in my life?
Yeah. I feel like your generation also is pushing back on what what are the big check marks after school, like in adulthood. There's more of I think a permission to say what is my life? What do I want it to look like? Which is exciting. And on one hand, there isn't as much pressure to say, oh, we're going to do this and then we got to do that and then we got to do that and then we retire, and that's
Yeah.
it. But I can see how that would also maybe be a source of stress a little bit or of anxiety around there's less defined. There's more creativity, but there's also then you got to figure it out for yourself. What does it mean for me? Any early hints of that for you? Of what does success look like for you?
I think I'm still exploring it, but I do think lately I've been focusing on what sort of things bring me happiness.
Hmm.
Um, And so currently, I've just been exploring new hobbies and thinking about new ways that I want my career to kind of unfold in the future, and maybe being okay with not having a list of things that I have to accomplish at this point.
Yeah. Letting it unfold a little bit.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And not having necessarily a plan of that. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
See what kind of comes. Yeah.
I think I wanted to touch on a different aspect of the question
Yeah.
too,
Yeah.
about a big adjustment. I think something I loved about college is the level of autonomy and freedom with your schedule that you have. And I think another one of the hardships is switching into a 9 to 5 job, and it fills up most of your week, and how to kind of get into the rhythm of what being a working individual looks like. And it's a big shift, and I think that was really difficult because something about me is autonomy is huge to me. Like, I really
Mm-hmm.
value having control over my time, but I do have to say it gets easier to kind of get into the rhythm of the schedule. And if anything, sometimes I like having a routine and knowing where I'm going to be.
Yeah. So it's one of those things that you had to adjust to, but you've actually found that that is something that you do enjoy. Yeah.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. I wonder too if focusing on, you listed, and I know that you and your husband, you guys do a lot of fun things on the weekend and a few things during the week, but primarily on the weekend. So more time there to do what you want and sort of have that freedom around your time. Does that help?
It does help. Yeah. Going out, doing things on the weekend. Something that we've tried recently that I think makes the week feel less like monotonous is we have like special days of the week.
Hmm.
So Tuesday, like Treat Tuesday. So we have something to look forward to. And Wednesday is Wellness Wednesday. So we'll do a face mask, or I'll take a bath. And so it's making each day of the week feel special and less mundane. And
Yeah. Because especially when you start out, you don't have a lot of vacation time. So you have to find your relaxation and your fun in different ways than just be able to take a 3 week vacation and go somewhere. Yeah.
yeah, unfortunately.
It's the way it is, isn't it? Yep. Anything about how it felt emotionally, like how you felt during this time, these first 5 years, and did that shift maybe at different times? When did
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, how did it feel emotionally? I mean, it evolved. I think another hard aspect of coming out of college is, especially coming from a college that has a college town, is that everybody
Mm-hmm.
leaves and spreads out. And so you don't have your little friend support system nearby anymore. You might have to drive an hour to go see your friend. And so it can be like hard emotionally when you lose that community that you're used to having next door. But I also think it's really liberating to be fully on your own and be an adult and learn about how to be an adult. And I think I enjoyed that part of it. I loved living downtown where I could walk around and go to the grocery store, and that part was really fun. But I did have moments where I struggled, and I feel like I am on the other side of that.
Yeah. One thing that I've noticed in you is while you sort of honor and still stay connected to some of those college friends, you've reconnected with other people and you've created new relationships. So you've found some friends at work and things like that, and that probably matters too when you think about your
Yeah,
support system. Yeah.
yeah. And family, reconnecting with family.
Yeah, we're so happy you're closer. WSU was a long ways away. Yeah. Was there a moment when you realized that success in the workplace required different skills than success in school?
I'm not sure there was necessarily a moment, but every job that I've had since graduating, I've had 3 different jobs. I've gotten from my connections with people and networking, and I think that's not a skill that makes you successful in school typically. You know, it's how well can you study things, how can you communicate them, but it's less about what sort of relationships you have. And I've realized that that's really important in the professional world, is about having good relationships, keeping good connections. The job I got recently, I back in college when it was COVID, I zoomed this business because I wanted to like share my senior presentation with them. And then 5 years later, I reached out and said, "Can I come in for an interview?" And I do think that helped me get the job that I have now because I had networked and spoke with them at some point.
Those connections, professional connections, so important. And I love that that took courage to just call up a firm and say, hey, can I review my senior project with you? So,
Yeah.
yeah, good for you. And it's those things too that you just never know where they'll lead. You know, I love that. Were certain skills? Have you found that certain skills are more important than grades?
Yes. I mean, I would say the same thing.
Yeah,
Relationships,
yeah,
networking. Um, I think some of the most valuable things you learn in college are the soft skills, the time management, and those sorts of things, because you use them daily in our jobs.
yeah. What do you wish that the universities maybe talked more about? What do you wish they would have prepared you better for? I know one of the things that you sometimes talk about as far as from professional perspective was, and WSU is actually pretty good about this, is that a lot of it was theoretical, and
Mhm.
it was all stuff that was important to learn, but it was when you actually got on the job, it was very different than what you had been doing in class. A big
Yes.
difference. Yeah.
I think architecture school has that artsy side that it's pretty well known that school does not necessarily equate to what the real world is going to look like. Um, and I do wish there was a bit more of a reality check in school, because I think that there are a lot of people who dropped out of architecture who probably would have liked the real world of it, but just didn't like the school theoretical part of it. And same with the other way around, liked creating these theoretical, beautiful projects, but the reality is we only design a very small part. That's only a small part of the actual job. And I do think I learned a lot from school and being able to think outside of the box, but I
Mm.
do wish that there was a bit more of the reality of the job. And I remember studying for my exams and thinking, there's so much that I didn't know and that I wish I could have learned in school instead of on my own.
Yeah. You had to learn a lot to pass those exams. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was on, like you said, studying on your own. So looking back, what helped you navigate the uncertainty that comes with early adulthood? The questions about career, finances. I know you've spent a lot of time on that. Identity, relationships, and where you belong.
For me, the best way to combat uncertainty is trying to focus on the things that I can control, which is the day-to-day things of, you know, what sort of coffee do I want in the mornings, or who am I going to hang out with today? I really struggle with uncertainty, and I had to learn pretty early on in my career that there's a lot about careers that you just can't control, and trying to just let that go a bit, I think. Yeah. But it's something I'm still continuously working on, is how to be okay with uncertainty in my own life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you said in order to deal with uncertainty, you focus on today and what's happening today and the choices that you have in that regard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where your 2 feet are. And I think it if we focus on I've heard it somewhere, I'm sure it's like a famous person said it, but the what's next, I think that kind of releases the uncertainty a bit. Like what do I want to do next? What not what do I where do I want to be in 10 years? Because so much of life happens that you don't have control over, but what are things that I can do right now that can get me a little bit closer to where I want to be?
Yeah. Small shifts, small changes, small actions.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also wonder, like in these 5 years, I feel like you have grown in your confidence to deal with whatever comes your way. And I feel like that also helps with uncertainty. It's like I don't really have to know what's going to happen in the next 6 months because I know that no matter what happens, I can actually deal with it. I have the skills, I have the strength, I have the emotional wherewithal to actually handle it. And I've got the resources around me. You've got your family, you've got your friends, you have your husband, that it's going to be okay. Does that sound true to you?
Yeah, for sure. Like I said early on, I kind of had to deal with that uncertainty. I was laid off 2.5 years into my career, and I think that's the best thing that's happened to me, because it allowed me to go, okay, where do I actually want to be? And how do I want to move forward? And what sorts of people do I want to work with? And then I had another job, and I decided, that wasn't a really good fit for me either. And so I wasn't afraid to move on and try out a different path. And I've ended up in a career that I'm really happy with, because I know something that I was looking for that I didn't have was people around me that I really liked working with, and good coworkers, and that's made a huge difference.
Yeah, I love that. So a little more sort of self-efficacy to actually take the actions and do the things that you need to do. Yeah. And that takes courage too. Anything you want to say about who or what supported you during that time?
Family, of course, having people to talk with, and my husband. He actually was laid off about a month before I was. And so I think I'd already kind of seen the process of it. And in a weird way, it was kind of helpful to have seen it up close. And then talking with friends as well. The architecture industry is really up and down. And so I wasn't the first one, and I won't be the last one to get laid off and go through a difficult time. Yeah. And I think something I have learned from that experience is just being prepared and having the resources and the funds I need if something does happen.
Yeah, that made such a huge difference that you had prepared for that. You were ready. So you felt it was less stressful. I mean, it was a lot of stress. I don't want to take that away, but I do feel like the fact that you had a good safety net already built in made a big difference. It didn't feel like, you were going to get kicked out of your apartment tomorrow, and you could still buy groceries. And I was really proud of you actually during that time. And of course, like I said, it was stressful. It was not fun, but some people survive that. I feel like you actually thrived through that. You said, "What do I want to make this time while I'm looking for another job? What do I want to get out of it?" And you did some self-care, and you and I had a little fun. I think you really thrived during that time, and that was cool. Much
I
better than
was
I would have done at your age. I know that for sure. Yeah.
if I was to do it again, I think I would have enjoyed my time a bit more. Maybe taken more time off. I think I was out of a job for a month. I think I wish I would have had a couple months to do what I
Yeah.
wanted.
Yeah, you got right on it. You went out there and you started interviewing right away. Yeah. But I
Yeah.
still felt like I knew you were doing a lot of self-care stuff, and that was important. You were supporting yourself. Yeah. So if you could sit down with every graduate who is about to walk across the stage this year, what would you want them to know about this next chapter of life?
First of all, I would say congratulations. It's a big achievement, and I hope that you celebrate your wins because I think we all need to celebrate when we achieve something amazing and not just think about like what's next. Like really sit in
Yeah.
the things we've accomplished. Um, but the the biggest advice I would give to new graduates is to don't just focus on building a good career, but focus on building a good life. And what sorts of things do you want in your life to make it full? And a good career could be a part of that, but also to think about the other aspects of your life that you want to focus on.
That's good life advice. That's what I would say. That's for anyone at any point in their life. I love that. We should all be doing that. We should all be looking at not only what makes a good career, but what makes a good and full life. Yeah, I love that. Is there anything that you wish someone had told you?
I think something I wish people would have told me is that people don't think about you as much as you think they do.
Hmm.
And when I first graduated, I thought everything I did at work was I was being watched and everything had to be perfect. And then you work a couple more years and you realize that people aren't thinking about you as much as you think they are. And I think just kind of like letting that go of worried about people's judgments because they're thinking about that you're thinking about them just as much. And so just to stop worrying about the people around you.
If you're able to let go of that, of worrying about the people around you, what does that allow for you to do then?
It allows you to make mistakes
Hmm.
and be willing to try new things and not have to feel perfect all the time. Yeah.
From my perspective, this at the end of the career, at least I would hope that most people actually are more invested in your success, helping you to be successful and supporting you as a young person just getting into the workforce. So that's a challenge out there for all you leaders. Let them know, let these new graduates that are coming into your workplace, let them know how much you appreciate them, and to support them and make sure you're checking in with them and saying good morning and all the little things that make a big difference
Yeah.
and make
I
them
do
feel
have
welcome. Yeah.
yeah. I do have to give a kudos, I think, to my current employer because that's something that they are always doing is finding ways to let people know that they're doing a good job. And I think that it's so important and not something I thought was important until I started working here. But it really helps that to notice that people are noticing when you're giving a little extra effort.
Hmm.
And it feels good.
Yeah. As your mom, I've had the privilege of watching your journey unfold. As you reflect on these first 5 years after graduation, what are you most proud of? Not what you've achieved, but who you've become. Because I know I'm proud of who you've become.
Well, thank you. I think I am the most proud of how resilient I
Yeah.
am and how open I have been to testing out different aspects of my career. And lastly, I think I'm proud of how happy I am now. I think it's been a journey, but I'm really, really enjoying life and enjoying my career at this point. And I'm hopeful for the next journey and the next steps that I take in the future.
That was lovely. Yes. So, speaking of next steps, and I know I heard you say, I don't like that question about what's next for me, but, and you can answer it any way you want, even if you want to answer it what you're doing just right this evening. What is next for you?
Well, next is I'm making macaroons.
Oh, are you bringing some down?
Maybe.
Am I going to get to
Well,
taste them? I saw
yeah,
pictures of you. You did that last weekend.
I did. They're pretty good. Um, I think next for me is I spent a lot of time testing. I've done a lot of work things outside of work with testing and applying to jobs, and I want to focus more on my own life. And I think for me that means seeing friends and family, being an aunt,
Mm,
and just making connections with people because that's what I really enjoy in life and value right now.
yeah, a little more balance.
A little more balanced.
Yeah, you worked really, really hard on those exams, and I'm so glad that you are on the other side of that. And you're a registered architect, and the sky is the limit for you.
Yeah. And I'm excited for, I think at some point I'm going to get back in it. And I don't know. I like the idea of adding maybe some teaching into my life or helping out with some friends and families' projects. So, more to come eventually.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing that you've been doing, which I'm really proud of, I know you and your husband have been volunteering at the food bank. And I love that you have this desire to give back to even in your busy schedule. So I'm really proud of you for doing that too.
Yeah. I think we've wanted to get more involved in the community that we live in, and with a little bit of extra time I've had, it's we've been exploring different ways to get to know people and help out in the place that we live.
Such an important thing. And I love that you're thinking about it already in your young life. Thank you, Maddie. Anything else that you wanted to say that you didn't get a chance to say?
um, I think I am also proud of you in
Thank you.
your own career journey, and it's been really inspiring to watch what you've created and developed. And I think no matter when you want to make a career change or go a different path, you know, you're always able to do that whenever. And that might be a good good advice for graduates is you can always change your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, the job is just to learn more of what you like and what you don't like. And your career path will continue to evolve and change, and you'll learn more about yourself.
Yeah, I love that. It's a process of experimentation. Yeah, and it never ends, which is a good thing. I think, like you said, I love learning. I love learning too. And that's where the hope to me lies. And that's where the possibility lies to say I'm never stuck, that I can always make a different choice. I can go back to school if I want to. I can get certifications. I can network in a different way or with a totally different group. But there's always something new and exciting that I can do. It takes work, it takes dedication, but you can do it. Whether you're just new out of school or you've had a 30-year career, you can make a shift and find that next place of happiness. Yeah. Well, I'm really proud of you, Maddie. I'm so proud of you. And I have been witness to that transition. And so I know that there was happy times and there was really tough times. And I hope that this helps those people, that if you're even a parent or a grandparent or a sibling of somebody who's in this space of transition, that you can take some inspiration and some hope from Madison's story, that you'll make it through. You'll make it through, even if it feels tough at the time. If you do the work, focus on today. I loved that you said 2 feet. Where are my 2 feet? Where am I right now? And better days will be ahead. And to soak. I loved you said to soak in the accomplishment right now. Where are you right now? And the fact that you have this, made it through to the other side of that graduation. So soak in that. Enjoy that for a while. And I'm excited for your future too. All that you will accomplish, and also who you will help along the way, because that's who you are. Whether that's working at the food bank or teaching, you'll help other people along the way. All right. Thank you, Madison, again.
Thank you for having me.
Take care. Bye. What a gift to be able to have this conversation with my daughter and to share it with you, our listeners. As we wrap up today, I'm struck by how often we think of graduation as a destination, when in reality, it's an invitation to discover who you are beyond grades, assignments, and expectations, an invitation to embrace uncertainty as a natural part of growth, and an invitation to trust that you don't need to have everything figured out to move forward. One of the things I hope our listeners take away from today's conversation is that adulthood isn't something you suddenly arrive at. It's something you grow into. One experience, one challenge, one decision, and one lesson at a time. And perhaps that's where genuine hope lives. Not in having certainty about the future, but in trusting that you can learn, adapt, and find your way through whatever comes next. So as we close, here's your Carry the Spark challenge. Think about a transition you're currently navigating, or one that's just ahead of you. Ask yourself, what am I expecting to have figured out that I actually need to learn by living through it? Take a few minutes to reflect on your answer, then identify one small step you can take this week toward the person you are becoming. Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Lifting Leaders podcast. If this conversation resonated with you, please share it with a recent graduate, a parent of a graduate, or someone navigating a significant life transition. And if you haven't already, subscribe so you don't miss future conversations as we continue our journey of igniting genuine hope. Until next time, keep lifting yourself, keep lifting others, and keep carrying the spark forward.